With sanctions on Russia sending the ruble plunging and keeping stock markets shuttered, the country's wealthy are turning to luxury jewelry and watches to preserve the value of their savings. In this video, we'll be talking about the interesting phenomenon of the war between Russia and Ukraine and how it's affecting luxury, whether or not luxury is an investment. If you want to learn more about that, then stick around to find out what's really happening. I'm gonna get cozy with my blanket, so excuse the blanket. So let's start out with what Russians are buying watches. Russia invaded Ukraine about a week ago, and now there's a desperate attempt for people to save money. If it spikes further, your savings will be worth even less. While luxury brands like Nike and Adidas are pulling out of the luxury game, apparently so are some brands like LVMH and Hermes. LVMH is a conglomerate luxury group that is owned by Bernard Arnault, which I talk about luxury globalization, part 1 and 2, and I'll see if I can link the videos in the description. If not, it's on my channel. Please check it out after this video. And talk about how LVMH has acquired a ton of luxury groups, such as LV, of course, that's what the LVMH has in its name is LV, Fendi, Celine, and a bunch of other luxury groups that we're familiar with, but they're pulling out. Some other luxury brands, however, aren't pulling out, but they are. Sales in Russia and for abroad Russians account for 2% of LVMH sales and 3% for Richemont sales. And Richemont is the conglomerate group that owns your favorite Cartier love bracelets. The reason for this is because, quote, that's due in part to Russian income and wealth disparities, with a small number of billionaire oligarchs living way beyond the means of ordinary people. The average monthly wage in Moscow is about 13,000 rubles, aka $1,350 in a month at pre-invasion exchange rates, and much lower in rural regions, which is super low. I don't know what the standard is in other European countries, depending on cities and locale, and it's even different in the US, but here it's on average about 50K is the average medium base salary across the board, kind of. And that means you're making a few grand in a month in order to make about 50K in a year. If you're only making $1,350 a month, that's very low. So there's a very high amount of wage disparity there between the rich oligarchs, which run the country of Russia, versus the normal people. And apparently all these rich oligarchs, or the people running the state of Russia, and by state I mean like country, they're making a lot of money and they're putting all their money and savings into luxury because it holds value over time, especially when it's a sort of secondary means of currency for them, because their primary currency, the ruble, isn't stable anymore due to social economic context. And Bloomberg quotes that sales at Bvlgari have also picked up recently because that's one of the brands that they're buying a lot of during this time. There's also a question too that we should ask ourselves: is luxury comparable to gold? Because like gold, luxury goods will retain value when it is relevant and in demand, which means there is better value for classic items, but at the same time, classic items usually include flagship styles from luxury brands such as Rolex, Omega watches, and other kinds of classic watches that are very popular and it will always hold value. But so will designer brands like those from LVMH, Kering, and other luxury companies. LVMH and Kering are both luxury conglomerates, which hold a lot of your favorite luxury brands. LVMH includes Bvlgari, LV, YSL, aka Saint Laurent now, Celine, and more. And Kering includes Gucci, Bottega Veneta, and more, while Cartier is under the Richemont group. Designer jewelry is gold and other precious metals. When you buy it, it'll be like buying up gold. Similarly, gold is a physical asset and it is not digital like stocks, so it's a tangible item that you can't really lose necessarily like a digital stock. But gold will go through phases of highs and lows, kind of like the old adage of when you buy gold, you buy low and and you sell high to get your money back over time as an investment. And the same is true if you were to do that with buying luxury jewelry, because luxury jewelry is kind of made out of gold. And to me, the process of what the Russian people are doing right now, the oligarchs are doing with buying luxury watches and jewelry to save their money, is sort of like money laundering. Because money laundering, if you don't know, let's give you a little bit of a definition. Money laundering is the process of taking dirty money obtained from illegal or unethical practices and converting it into legitimate money by buying something which has legitimate value and is a legitimate good or service, such as jewelry and such. Okay, I'm not saying necessarily that the oligarchs and the other wealthy people of Russia have dirty money, though they could, and this could actually legitimately be money laundering. I'm just saying that it sounds like a form of money laundering because you're converting one form of currency into another form of currency that has more stability and is backed up, which in this case is the luxury goods. So you see what I'm saying? You know, this article from Bloomberg quotes that much like gold, which can serve as a store of value and hedge against inflation, luxury watches and jewelry can hold or even increase their price amid economic turmoil caused by war and conflict, aka the thing everyone's been talking about, the war on Ukraine by Russia. This is a very interesting topic because I feel like everyone is villainizing Russia for invading Ukraine, and it's by no means justified the invasion necessarily, and there's been peaceful relations. But the thing with people vilifying Russia is that what you mean to vilify is the government and the head of state. You don't necessarily mean to be vilifying the citizens of Russia, because the people doing this stuff are the people running the country. The citizens are perfectly innocent, and as you can see here, there's a wealth gap in which most of the citizens are not very rich. They're not really able to afford luxury. They're making below minimum wage here. In the US, you have to make like maybe $2,000 or something if you're working on like $12 or $13 an hour in a month to get like 20 grand a year or 30 grand a year. And that's like minimum wage, but they're making even less than that, and even less in rural areas. So this is below minimum wage even. This is like, it makes it extremely hard to buy luxury. So the only people who are buying luxury are the heads of state that everyone is kind of vilifying here. So I almost don't feel bad for them that their money is losing value, because they're kind of the ones causing this whole issue with the war between Russia and Ukraine. But at the same time, the ruble losing value is not really a good thing for the citizens of Ukraine, because while the rich are losing value in their savings, so are the people who are poor. So it's not really good overall that this is happening, but the rich are making the best of it by investing in luxury jewelry as if it was a means of investment. And I'd like to say, if you're finding this an interesting discussion and topic and you like this video, then please give this video a like so that it can spread to more people, because if you like this video, it'll show it to more people across the board. So please do that if you haven't already. And if you love couture, style, and analysis, aka CSA, then please go down and like and subscribe so that you get your weekly notifications of a CSA PSA hot off the press weekly. You want to subscribe because you won't want to miss more interesting things related to fashion history and couture on this channel. The next question I think we should ask ourselves too is that, is luxury an investment? Because in most cases, you buy luxury to kind of preserve your money. When you resell it later on to get some of your money back. Though most of the time, luxury is not an investment. Keyword is most. But in exceptions to the rule, we've seen that in this instance with Russia, luxury can be a stable asset financially to buy. In this case, it is an asset because it's a stable form of currency because of the socio-economic turmoil that's causing their primary currency, aka the ruble, to drop and become worth less. It's actually pretty smart what they're doing, because the rest of the world still values luxury goods and it still has value, even if it's coming from Russia, and the ruble does not have much value as of recently. I don't know if I've shown you the chart, but here it is again. Of course, If luxury were to lose value, so would the value of money in these items, so it's a bit of a gamble. It also depends on which kind of luxury items you're buying too, because if you're buying the classic styles and such, they're not really going to go out of fashion too much. But if you're buying something that's very hot and trendy of the moment, that's probably not gonna increase in value long term because it's more of a trend item and it hasn't proven its longevity. And we've also seen this again, specifically kind of with Chanel bags. With Chanel bags, there's been an increase every few months that far outpaces the inflation that happens economically every year, with some of the price increases exceeding 10%, such as 12-15% we've seen now. It already outpaces the yearly amount that the stock market increases on index funds, which averages out at around 7% growth every year. It varies year by year, and of course, the recession. We should also account for a certain amount of deflation that occurs as you use it. If you use it, then there's a certain amount of deflation that can occur as you use it, because unless you keep the bag in perfectly pristine condition, and most likely the only way you can do that is by not using it, you're gonna get probably some kind of wear on the bag, even if it is caviar bag, because the inside can scratch with your fingernails. The value of inflation that occurs with price increases is offset by the value of deflation that occurs with wear and tear as the bag is being used, if it's being used. And even if it's not being used, there's still a possibility of deflation and devaluing that might occur anyways with the bag, because when you buy the bag in the season that it came out, in that same collection, it's going to have way more value than if it was being sold again a few seasons later, because it's not the new hottest bag or color of that season, so quote. So that's why I think you see a lot of bags on Tradesy selling for inflated values and they're not being sold, maybe because they're kind of past their prime. It also depends on the fabric too. I feel like if you choose smartly and buy the things that are most in demand, then you're more likely to get your money back as an investment. For example, if you just buy a classic flap in black caviar gold hardware in a size medium, mediums never go out of style. They're very stable. They're never like super hot, I feel like, but they're always there, kind of like the Kelly size 28. If you buy that and you sell it 5 years down the line, you're probably gonna be able to get your money back and more with the rate price increases are happening, especially if you don't use the bag. That would definitely be an investment then, because the bag is a classic. Everyone is stoked over the color, the hardware combination, the leather choice, the size, everything about it. And that amount of money you would get back from that investment, so-called, from flipping the bag would probably outweigh the 5 grand or 10 grand that you put in the stock market 5 years later. And I'm saying stock market as in index funds. I don't mean individual company stocks like Apple or Tesla. So if you're into stocks, don't come after me. And those are kind of some of the thoughts that I had on this. Please leave me down your thoughts and comments down below. This was just kind of my own opinion on this matter. Please do leave me a like, comment, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this topic, please give this video a like so that I can spread to more people, because if you like it, it'll spread to more people, hopefully. And if you love couture, style, and analysis, aka CSA, please like and subscribe and turn on the bell to get your weekly notifications, because you won't want to miss out on more interesting things related to fashion, history, and couture. I'll leave my Instagram here as well. I post updates on when videos are released, as well as some sneak peeks every so often, so you won't want to miss out on that. If you'd like to support me as a creator, please buy me a monthly coffee on Patreon. Link in the description. I would love to make this my full-time endeavor. Feel free to shop my closet. I'm selling some of my old items on my Depop, Poshmark, and Mercari. Link in the description. And check out my next video here, which is Luxury Globalization of LVMH parts 1 and 2 next. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!